guys, this is Carolyn from All Things Effie, and I'm here with the Extra Long Pile Duo in black. I love this black color, it's so sweet. And I am going to show you how to change from cut pile to loop pile. Because as you will have noticed, when you opened your machine, it didn't actually have a loop pile head in the spare parts bag. So it's supposed to be a duo, right? So why is there no loop head? Because you don't actually need a loop head to do loop pile with a tufting gun. I've posted several times a little hack that I have for adjusting your AK1 to loop pile. So if you've seen that, it's the same principle. Basically, this here is your scissor closer. So this piece here in the gun, it's like a bar that sticks out from this, it sits here and it sticks out down through the gun, and that's your scissor opener. So you have a scissor opener and you have a scissor closer. You don't want to adjust the scissor opener, leave it as is, but what you're going to do is you're going to adjust the scissor closer so it's just out of the way. So you're just going to move it. The best thing to do though before doing this, I generally use a digital calipers for measuring. You can also use a like a ruler. It's just a lot harder to get precise measurements, and like a lot of these measurements are so like down to the actual 0.1 millimeter type of thing that these are just amazing because they're super accurate if you know how to use it. And it's got the digital display, so you don't have to interpret the system on here. And I do sell these in my shop, so yeah, all the tools I use for repairing and alterations are all sold in my shop, except for screwdrivers and wrenches, just because those are obviously available at your local hardware store, even your dollar store or something, so or even your supermarket, so you don't really need, I don't think I need to sell those, just because you can actually drive and get whatever you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to millimeters, and I'm going to measure how far down this scissor opener is, and I'm going to make note of it so I have that for later, so that I can put it back to cut pile super easily without too much fuss. I still will have to double check that I've done it correctly though. You can't just assume that because you put something back in the same position it's going to work. You have to double check, but you can get it as close to that measurement as possible, which is ideal. Okay, so let's take the measurement. I'm going to basically turn the gun like this on its bum, and I'm going to just put so this is this so the digital calipers, you can measure width with them like this. Oops, my thing just came out, so it's showing the battery, which isn't very helpful. I'm just going to review what it does quickly, because otherwise it's not going to make sense what I'm doing. So you can measure width, so you can go to the outside parts of something and you can measure that, and that says it's 9.2 millimeters. This guard plate is that wide. You can also do internal dimensions, which is amazing. So such as, say I wanted to measure the top bar length, I can use the inside edges, so these inside edges to measure. Hopefully this gets long enough for this. So I would do it like that. I would butt that against there, move it till it's flush with both of those screws, and I know that the bar length is 81.6 millimeters, so 8.2 centimeters basically. So it has that method, and then also this thing sticks out the bottom, and that can be used for depth measurements. So that's what I am going to do to measure the depth of the scissor closer. I just have to think about what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on its end, and I'm going to measure the depth by sticking the caliper down there. I don't know if you can see that, how I'm doing it. So I've stuck it down and I'm measuring the depth. So it's flush with the top of the scissor opener, and this bum of the digital calipers was flush against the where the scissor opener or scissor closer was inside there. So it says it's negative 2.3 millimeters. So I'm just going to make a note of that so I've got it for later. Just over here on this side. Sweet. Okay. So now I'm going to grab the little spare parts bag and I'm going to get the Allen key that allows me to loosen the scissor. Ooh, man, I keep forgetting what I'm saying. The scissor closer. I just don't want to lose these tiny little screws. I got the wrong Allen key out. Okay, so it's the second, nope, I had the right one out. Ah! Okay, so let's turn this and we're just going to move it out of the way. So we're going to move it up to the very top. I believe that's correct. So now that I've moved it to the top, so I've moved it all the way to the top, so now it's not going to close the scissors, okay? So the scissors are going to, as I do the cycle, it's so hard to keep this in the full video. So if I run the cycle, so this is, you always want your machine unplugged when you do this. Don't have it plugged in and don't have it on. Because otherwise it'll start activating and it'll crush your fingers, which is not fun. You can turn this cogwheel to see the full cycle of the machine. It's really important to know how to do this. And if I turn this now to the topmost position when the scissors are fully out, you can see that the scissors are still open. So that little V is going to act as your loop pile head, and it makes beautiful little loops. So I'm going to go do a demo of that and add it into this video so that you can see how it works. And yeah, then I'll show you how to reset the scissor opener or closer so that the scissors then do close instead of just being open like this. So hopefully you can see that and that little V. That is going to be your loop pile head for the extra long pile AK Duo. And I should mention we sell these both at our Canadian store, which is for North American shoppers. So that's www.allthingsfe.ca. And then we also sell them in our New Zealand store, which ships worldwide. So we ship to New Zealand, Australia, and everywhere else as well. So they're available in both shops. And our the other shop is allthingsfe.com, not .ca. All right, so I will be back with the next video. All right, before I show you this gun doing loop pile, the extra long AK Duo, I'm just going to show you how to thread it. So you're going to go take your threader and go up through the closest hole. That's if you want to do 4.5 centimeters. You're going to go up through that, through the yarn guide, and then loop it through here. There we go, and pull. Okay, so now it's set to do, because I've adjusted the scissor opener or closer, it is now going to do loop pile at 4.5 based on where it is threaded. Let's do a better look at that. Okay, so with this gun, you have to give a little bit more pressure than maybe you might be used to. I'm just going to tilt the camera down just so we can see me tufting. There we go. I'm running out of space on this frame. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is loop, so I now have to trim this, otherwise it's just going to pull out, which I forgot my scissors because I don't do loop very often. So I'm just going to hang the gun, grab my scissors, And so with the loop pile, after each line you have to cut your thread and then you have to restart. So then we'll do another line. And then we will cut again. I just want to do like a few lines just so you can see fully what it looks like on the other side. I actually might move the camera around so that you can see me tufting from the other side now. There we go. And pull. Okay. Loop pile at 4.5 based on where it is threaded. Let's do a better look. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we will cut again. I just want to do like a few lines just so you can see fully what it looks like on the other side. I actually might move the camera around so that you can see me tufting from the other side. Cotton acrylic in poppy red, and so you can see it makes lovely long shaggy loops. The cotton's kind of separated in a few spots. Alright, so I've now tested this. It works beautifully as a loop pile gun. So now I'm going to set it back to being a cut pile. So if you remember, we did a depth measurement on the scissor opener, and we said it was approximately 2.3 centimeters down from the top. So we have it fully at the top right now, so it can be loop, and we're going to move it down just 2.3 millimeters downwards. So I'm going to take the Allen key and I can push it down until to a depth, and then I just want to like check how far down that is. So that's a little bit far, so we'll push it back up a tiny bit, and we'll try that. Oops. Oh, my settings were incorrect. Okay, let's try that again. I was wondering, I was like, that can't be that far. I don't know why this won't. Oh, there we go. All right, so now I'm at about 0.9, so I want to be a little bit further down. I think where I had it before was probably more accurate. So let's scooch it down. Ooh. Try it there. Let's see how far down that is. I think that's going to be a bit far. Yeah. So move it up. Try there. Make sure it's zeroed. And measure 5.3. It's still a little bit far. Move it up a smidge. All right, so I think that's around 2.3. What I'm gonna do now, it's so hard to show this fully, I'm gonna rotate the cog wheel. And either the scissors are going to close nicely the way they should, or they're going to be over closing. So let's see where we're at. Okay, so you see that they're closing, but they're not, there's still a little bit of a V there, which you do want, but I want them just a tiny bit tighter than that. So I'm going to move, and this is what I meant by like you have to check it. So you have to run it through its cycle to just make sure that the scissors are closing exactly the way you want them to. So I want them to close just a tiny bit more than that. So what I'm going to do is just move the scissor closer down slightly to be able to do that. So now I'm just going to sort of guess based on the initial measurement. So I've got it in relatively the right spot. Now I just want it to go down just a little bit lower. Oh, this is a hard one to move. Okay, come on. It's my, I don't know why it's not moving at all. That's weird. Oh, there we go. I think it's just the channel's quite rough, so it wasn't moving as nicely as I wanted it to. Okay, let's try that. It's a little bit further down. Okay, so that's like almost a little bit too much. You can see that they're almost like the two pieces are almost overlapped at the top of the cycle. And you can also feel when they're over closing, you can feel them kind of clunk a little bit. Like it won't feel, the cycle won't feel as smooth. So I just want to move it back up just a teensy tiny bit. If it'll let me. Usually these scissor opener and closers move a lot more freely than this. I don't know why this one is so sticky. It's going to make the job a little bit more challenging. Okay, come on. You see how it's just like I'm wiggling it, but it's just not moving? Okay, sorry. It's definitely easier to do that when it's like facing you than really far away. So we'll just try that. Ouch. And that looks perfect. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so I'll just run through the cycle again. And let's take a look now. So it's open, open, closing, closing, and close. And that's exactly, for this style of gun, this is exactly sort of the overlap of the scissors that I want. On the AK1, you can have the V a little bit bigger than that. But for this one to really snip that yarn, you want it to be that tight. Okay, so now we have fully reset it back to cut pile. So if I went over to my frame now, it's going to do cut pile. Okay, so I'm back on my frame. I have converted these lines here are loop pile with the long pile AK Duo. And now I'm going to, now that I've reset it to cut pile, I'm going to show you how to tuft as though it's cut pile. So again, oops, I should probably plug it in. That would be helpful. I had to unplug it because I was altering stuff, and you don't want it plugged in when you're changing things. Okay, so now I'm going to thread it the same way I did for the when I was doing loop. So I'm going to put it through the top or the bottom hole and through the eyelet, if you can see that, through the threader and pull. And now I am going to tuft over here 3 or 4 lines that are cut pile. And we'll show it from both angles, so let's go. So with this, I'm giving it a bit of extra pressure because the kickback, the gun's kickback on each cycle is a little bit harder than what you'll be used to. So just keep nice, even, perpendicular pressure to the gun. All right. Ow! Shit, what did I do there? That's weird.